everybody. You're very welcome to the next episode of our podcast, Advocacy Works. I'm here today with Philip. How are you today, Philip?
I'm glad to think one of you.
I'm good, yeah, not too bad. The weather's good.
It is so
not
far.
Not too bad, yeah. Any news for the last few weeks?
Work.
You've been working. Busy man altogether. Yep. So today we have two very special guests here.
We have.
We do. Will we introduce them?
We will.
We'd say hello to Claire.
Hi.
Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, where will I start? Well, my name is Claire Nagel and I'm the chairperson of the National Advocacy Council, and I'm coming live stream from County Waterford, and
what part of Clare are you from?
So I'm from Rosslevin. I originally came from Ballyea about almost 10 years now. I'll be in the Brothers of Charity 10 years in November. And I'll be 9 years in my apartment, and I am so delighted.
Do you live on your own in an apartment?
I live on my own independently, and I do have support, but I wouldn't have a sleepover.
Okay, so you have staff coming in during the weekend just to give you a hand doing stuff.
Yeah.
Very good. Lovely stuff. So you're very welcome to the sunny southeast, Clare. Yep. It's great. We had to have you in person.
Yeah.
Come down to visit us. And our other special guest is Lorna. You're very welcome, Lorna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. It's great to have members of the National Council here. So, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Lorna O'Leary, and I'm the Regional Advocacy Coordinator in the Brothers of Charity Southern Region. So we support people across Cork and Kerry. I've been with the Brothers for about 6.5 years, but my post is quite new to our region, and I've been in that just a little over a year. So very exciting, lots happening, and it's just brilliant to be part of the National Advocacy Council and support the work that they do.
That's great. Yeah. So we're going to just have a little chat about today about the National Advocacy Council. We have previously spoken about it, Philip, haven't we?
We have.
In another episode, but we'll have a little chat about it from your point of view and what you kind of see your role as in the National Council. And we will obviously start with the chairperson.
Yep, we will.
That's the most important role, isn't it? Yeah, So, Claire, do you want to tell us... So how long have you been the chairperson of our National Advocacy Council?
So I've been on the council for 7 years now, and first of all I started off from Ennis, and the reason why I went for the Ennis role is because in 2016 when I stood up at the Clare conference, I knew that when I spoke I knew that I'd be able for this role and I'd have full confidence, and people believed in me. So I started off at Ennis, and then 2 weeks later there was an opportunity for the Clare role. So the coordinator, Rob Hopkins, was looking for people to go for the roles as Clare chair. So when I took on the role as Clare chairperson, I didn't know what to expect. And then I joined the National Council. Mm-hmm. And when I went to the National Council meeting, I didn't realise what great group I'd be with. Mm-hmm. So I've been on the National Council for about 7 years now. I should have been finished 3 years ago, but then I decided to go for the National Council because I knew I'd have great experience, and people believed in me. And we also had a policy group. Mm-hmm. It's still going, but I'm not part of it. We also have a policy group about putting policies into an easy read. Mm. And one of the things that taught me so much about advocacy is the person I am. Mm-hmm. It has made me grow a bit stronger and has developed a great voice, being able to voice my opinion. And there's been times where I at conferences where I didn't know I had to go up and speak, mm-hmm. when it was a bombshell for me, but I went up and did it, and a lot of people thought I was amazing.
You are amazing.
Sorry,
nobody is disputing.
I love what I'm doing, and one of the things that I thought I'd never do was that I thought I'd never do a parachute jump, and that has given me great confidence, because some people with disability would say, well, why would a person with a disability want to do that. But it doesn't matter whether you have a disability or not a disability. You can do something when you put your mind to it. And I always believed that I could do anything that when I give it a go.
Good on you.
Well, sure, that's it. We're finished.
Yeah.
We may go home now. Well done. That's brilliant, Claire.
There's so much I can say.
Yeah, but sure, that's
course.
good. This is your opportunity.
I'm privileged to be on the NAC, and I just love being part of being the chairperson. It is overwhelming. It is hard to give everyone a chance, but I do know that when my time comes that there'll be other opportunities for me, because life is too short. And
Absolutely.
if people came to me and said to me, what do you think of this? I said, go and do it. These opportunities don't come up often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
But you're right though, Claire, you know, it does take a lot of confidence.
It is.
It didn't happen overnight.
No.
You were
No.
part of the Ennis Regional Council as a chairperson. You built up your skills and
Yeah.
confidence in public speaking over the years.
Yeah, like
That's
last
not
year
easy.
when I opened the Cork conference, it was lovely, even though I forgot what county I was from.
Yes, we won't hold it against you.
You're ready into the
You
room.
were
But
in
look,
the real republic,
it's-
but look, we won't talk
yeah.
about it.
But yes, it is about being able to speak. It's not just about meeting people and having the crack. You need to be able to do what I can do, and that's what I inspire. And even this year now, we're having the Clare conference in the Armada, and the theme is called Let's Get Real. And people have asked me to do things like drama, acting, and I have said to them that, look, I have done so many things over the years. I'd like to inspire other people to do it, not to have the same person doing things. And like there will come a time in 2 years that my role as chair will be gone, and there'll be other opportunities. Yes, I'll be sad, I'll miss it, but it's not as if I'm never going to see anyone from the National Council, because I love being on the National Council. I have made great friends, and yeah, that's it.
But it's what advocacy is about, though, isn't it? You're
Yeah.
representing other people. You want to inspire people to
Yeah.
be the best version of themselves,
Yeah.
you know.
So some people
That's
have thought
fabulous.
that advocacy isn't important, but it actually is. But at the end of the day, people have choices they can make.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like one of the things I did go over there 3 years ago was that I fought for the UN CRPD. Like years ago, people weren't able to have houses with disabilities, weren't able to be in a relationship, weren't able to get married. Where now you have the choice of making your own decisions.
Absolutely, and that's really important, isn't it?
Yes.
Um,
I'd love to stay here and talk with you.
well, this is why we're here today, Claire. So don't worry about we can talk as long as we can talk.
Yeah.
So do you think, so say if somebody, like Philip is new enough to the National Council, you're coming up this month, I think you're probably a year on the National Council.
Yes.
So you're
God,
he's
is it a
relatively
year
new.
already?
Yeah.
But like, so what kind of advice would you give to Philip or a new member coming into the National Council? Like you said, it can be a little bit overwhelming, and but is there any advice you would think of? Say Philip, maybe in the future he'd think, oh, I don't mind being the chairperson of the National Council.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, to tell you
You
the
never
truth,
know.
no, Philip, I remember, was it 2 years ago when Claire Power was the chairperson? I said there is no way I'd be able to do the national role as chairperson, because I wouldn't be capable of doing it. And here
Now
I am.
look at you.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
never
look
say
at you.
never.
Never
Philip.
say never.
Okay.
And my advice
See.
to you is to join the council, because they're a great bunch and there's lovely people, and I've met so many people. Like when I joined it, there were 2 people that I knew from school, and Lorraine Mahon was one of them, and the other one was Michelle Jordan. And I made some great friends, Martin Joher, who, yeah. So, like, if you want to be on the council, give it a go. Go to 1 or 2 meetings. But if you were going to be the chairperson, I would start locally. I have advised, some people have said to me, what's it like being the chair? When I took on the Ennis and Clare, it was overwhelming. because I didn't know what to expect. Like, I should have started out with Ennis and I didn't Clare, and now I'm gone national. And I'm so proud of how far I've come in the last
You
7
should be
years.
so proud of yourself.
Yeah, and I suppose for people who wouldn't know much about the Brothers of Charity, that's the kind of the systems that we would have in place, and we would previously spoke about this, Philip, but you know that there are local groups, and then we'd have our regional groups, and then we have our national group. So I think, you know, I believe the structures within our services are really, really good, because there's lots of services who don't.
Because when staff are coming in, they don't know anything about advocacy.
No. Yeah.
And there seems to be that when I meet them, they're hearing it from me, and I'm saying that advocacy, it's good to get to meet new people, but it's also, it has to be something you really want to do. Like there's some people who don't go to advocacies because staff won't let them. But that's not really up to the staff, it's up to the individual who wants to do it. Like when I did an advocacy training there with Rob last week, and some people were saying that there are barriers, that people are not allowed to do things, or they can't do this, they can't do that. And you know, you're part of a service to be able to do the things you want to do.
Absolutely.
So if people don't know much about advocacy, I know that I'm happy to tell them what advocacy, because it is a lovely thing to be involved with, but at the end of the day, it's all about people's choices.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah. And I
absolutely.
think that the structures are really important. It's important to have a meeting to go to come together with people, and it's a safe space for people to talk. But I think it's always so important to remember, as you said, Claire, like, this is about people's lives and people's choices. We don't want people having to wait for a meeting to advocate for themselves.
Yeah,
if
some
they have
people
a
would say
worry.
that advocacy is boring, and but I say you could go out into a shop and you're advocating for yourself.
Absolutely. And it has nothing got to do with having a disability.
No.
Every person in this world at some time has or will have to advocate for themselves or their children or their family member. We do it in work. You know, this is part of everyone's life.
Yeah.
Not just if you have a support need. No. So I think you're so right. It is about people's lives, and it is about giving people choice. And sometimes that's, I suppose, you know, beyond the service.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the issues that come up at the National Advocacy Council that you're advocating for are outside of the Brothers of Charity, and we've talked a lot about housing and different issues that are coming up, but it's important to have somewhere to bring them to, which is the National
Like
Advocacy
sometimes
Council.
for me, I feel that I don't need to be in the Brothers of Charity, but in the last 10 years, I have developed and grown a lot of strength in myself. Like 10 years ago when I was living at home, I didn't know anything about advocacy.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be able to jump out of an airplane, go on a holiday, do parasailing.
Live independently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of the people I have in my life and how far I've come.
Absolutely. You should be very proud of
You
yourself.
absolutely should.
And Philip,
Yep.
all the women are chatting now, so we'll have to get you to come out, get in on this conversation. What do you think advocacy has done for you?
Since I've become the new chairperson from Clare, before I was involved with the group one, and then since becoming the new chair, they love me as the new chairperson, going to meetings, they go up to them and go, whoa, the time being agrees to the presentation at the court conference.
Yeah, you've done presentations. Yeah, I don't think you've ever been as busy.
No.
No, same as myself. You keep me on my toes anyway, making sure I'm doing my
It's
job.
always good, Philip. It's always good.
Well,
Yeah, but I suppose, do you think it kind of giving you confidence,
It
or
Yes.
you know? And Philip is absolutely keeping me on my toes, like asking me, telling me, when's that meeting, Siobhan, and you know,
Yeah.
what's the story? Where's that agenda?
yeah.
Because it is hard work to represent people, though, isn't it?
It
Like
is.
the National Advocacy Council represents all of the people supported in the service. That's a big responsibility, lads. You know, you're the voice of people from Clare, from the southeast.
Yep.
You're bringing the issues forward. Like tomorrow, you're meeting with the national leadership team. Like that's a great opportunity to talk to the people who can support and make change in the service.
Yeah.
It's important work.
And it's important your voices are heard.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's
Absolutely.
why.
Before this, I didn't invent the national team.
Yeah, you never met the national leadership team, and I suppose a lot of people don't because we're such a big organisation as well.
Yeah.
So it's another opportunity, isn't it, to meet the people who are making big decisions around how the organisation is run and what people are doing and stuff. So that's really important, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So Lorna, as the staff who's supporting the National Advocacy Council, so you're quite new to the role, really.
I am, absolutely.
So how have you found it? Because we all know that coming into the National Council can be a little bit chaotic, and it can be a little bit everybody's talking over everybody.
Absolutely, it can happen. It can happen.
It does.
So how have you found the experience so far?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the National Advocacy Council and supporting the advocate reps from the Southern region and all of the other advocacy reps. I think the work of the National Advocacy Council is so important because it's where everybody joins together. Because, as Siobhan said, we're such a big region, things can be happening down in Cork and you think, God, these are just issues for us. How do we get out of this? But actually, when you bring them to the National Advocacy Council, I find you learn so much. Or actually, you know, Galway have done something, or Limerick advocates have done something on this, or they've learned something along the way. I think that there are many issues for people with disabilities in Ireland. There's no doubt about it. But I think when we all come together, it's that strong voice that the advocates have. And as a staff member, my role is as simple as supporting that. You know, I think it's so important that we support everyone to have a voice around the table. I know, Claire, you do a lot of work in making sure people, each person talks at a time. That's always so important. And that's difficult with a big group, Claire, I think, isn't it? It's always a tricky one.
Yeah.
But it shows how passionate people are, how much people are interested. And I think it is so fantastic that advocates have the opportunity to meet with the National Leadership Team. It doesn't happen in all organisations.
No.
I'd say very few at a guess. But it's your voices. And that's what's important. It's not about myself, Siobhan, or any other staff member there to support. We want you to advocate for the issues that you see and feel. And we're just there to make that happen.
Yeah, but since my first national advocacy conference meeting, I didn't know there was a team behind for the national team leadership. After that, I didn't know that until the time
So you our last national leadership team meeting, you were at that, were?
Yeah.
So we use them twice a year, isn't it? Twice a year. Before that, you wouldn't have ever met them. No. You know, so I suppose
Even
it is
as
opportunity.
a staff member, you would never meet them either. You know, or you mightn't know who all the directors of services are. You probably know who your own one is from meeting them.
Yeah.
But you really wouldn't meet anybody else either as a staff member.
Yeah, I can remember the very first National Leadership Team meeting, and that was going back 2017. I didn't know, all these people were coming into a room. I said, what in the name of God is going on? And then somebody I knew walked in, and I said, okay, there's somebody I know. And I didn't know what to expect. Like, I didn't even know who they were.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's important, as Lorna said, that you have the opportunity to meet directly with their national leadership team. And I suppose, and to realise that they're just humans.
Absolutely.
They're like everybody else.
Yes, they're no different.
They're not scary people. Do you know that they're just
really,
they're doing their very best like everybody is. And I suppose but they also have to hear what you have to say. And I think we are given that opportunity within our service, which is really important, and I think it does help develop people. It gives them confidence. Absolutely, you will have no problem tomorrow now, Claire, at your meeting, and it won't be that just there's all scary people and they're all just...
I wouldn't be worried, but I'm just concerned about someone that could, Yeah, so
it's tricky.
It's very hard to, that when there's one or two that would be like children, and that would show like.
Well, it is very difficult to try and share a big group of people. But you've done it before, Claire, so we're not going to worry about that at all.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of preparation as well, lads. You have to give yourselves credit as well. Like all day today, you do a huge amount of preparation to make sure that you're advocating for the issues that people are experiencing. You know, you put a lot of work into this.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, not just at the meetings, you put a lot of work into it. And absolutely, us as staff put in a lot of work to support it, because that's our jobs.
Yeah.
We're here to support. So you have to give yourselves credit that you put in a huge amount of work into this. You know.
So I'm going to ask you a tricky question. If you had to pick one trait, if that's the correct word, that you that a supporter should have when it comes to supporting, say, not just advocacy nationally, but a national supporting somebody through advocacy within our service, what do you think is the one thing that you really think they not should have, or would it be good to have, or important
so
to have?
Many. There is so many traits. If I had to pick one, I think certainly with the Assisted Decision Making Act coming in as well, I think it's more important than ever to be non-judgmental. I think it is too easy for us as staff to give our opinions. It's too easy.
Yeah, they're all looking
And
at me.
someone
No.
recently said
No.
to me, an advocate recently said to me, it's about me living my life and not the way that you think I should live it. And I thought that was really interesting, because we can give people advice. That's a part of our job, giving good advice. But it's what we think is good advice. And we have to respect if I say, look, Philip, I think this is what you should do, because this is a good decision. And you being able to say, do you know what, Lorna, you're so wrong. Or you might be right, and I still don't want to take your advice.
Yeah.
And we have to say, no problem. Absolutely. Whether you have a disability or not, everyone has the right to make a decision that is sometimes bad.
Oh yes.
The
It's all about risks, isn't
some-
it?
If you said
Someone
that
out
to me,
there
yes,
playing.
if you
Yep.
said that to me yesterday, it would be a different story, because I know for certain that I have concern at the moment, and I was talking to my sister this morning, and do you know that if you have that when you have a past, and you're worried about someone in your family, and you'll be worrying, oh, is she going to be okay? I don't want to say in case it be broadcast. But if you have a concern, and I was talking to somebody, and one of the things she said that it doesn't matter if you make the right decision or a good decision, because I've done it myself. Like 18 months ago, I made wrong decisions.
Yes, we all do
We
that.
all
We
do.
all make
That I
all-
thought that I
do.
wouldn't be able to manage, but
Yeah.
here I am. I was able to
Absolutely.
deal with it because I'm a strong person, but I would be very concerned about the other person. But my sister advised me that people have the right to make decisions. It doesn't matter if it's a bad one or a good one. All you can do is give your opinion and support it, but
Exactly.
not to get involved.
Exactly.
That's-
Seriously good advice.
That's really
Seriously
good
good
advice.
advice. And I
Yeah.
think as staff, it's supporting people to do that.
Yeah.
Give you all the information
Yes.
for you to make the decision for yourself. I'm not here to live your life for you. You are so well
But
able
they
to
are
do that for
sometimes
yourself.
the staff do live other people's lives. Like they say, oh, you can't do that.
Well, we would hope that maybe from listening to today's podcast,
Yeah.
they
Hopefully.
might actually, realise that,
Like I know there are in
make a
some
decision.
services that there might be 4 individuals and 1 staff on, and that if one person wants to do one thing and then the other person, but one of the things I find hard, and I may have given my opinion about it today, but one of the things I find hard is being supported in the service, because I feel that I want that staff are better than me because they don't have a disability. I don't want to be treated as a person with a disability because I can do things that I thought I'd never do. And sometimes I'd like to be treated as an adult, not as somebody supported. I know I'm somebody's, and I know I'm supporting the service, but when somebody says, Claire, you are a person supported in the service, you are receiving a service, I said, no, I'm not. I'm a staff member, even though I'm not a staff member. But to me, it feels like that because I can be organised, and staff are saying, Jeannie, Claire's really able to do all this. She's organised. And even coming into my home, I find it hard because I wouldn't go into the manager's home or staff's home.
Yeah.
So why is there a different rule for the person being supported?
And respect is so important,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Like staff do respect me, but it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think, Claire,
It's very honest.
It's so honest.
Yeah.
And I do think you're so right. It's seeing people as people first.
Yeah, like you shouldn't invite somebody into your home until you really know them. And over the years, that's what I've been trying to do. But when I meet a new staff, what I'm told is that a social care worker will say, this person Claire lives up the road there, and you'll be saying, don't tell them where I live until I get to know them.
Yeah.
And that's what I find
important.
hard.
Maybe there's a lesson for us all to learn that, you know, it is nice to
Like,
get to know
do
people
staff
a little.
really need to come into somebody's home like me if I'm able to do things myself?
Well, that is the $1 million question, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to answer that
No,
tonight.
no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just
Because we're
saying
coming to
that's-
near the end of our podcast,
Yep.
I'm going to go ask you, Claire, the question I asked Lorna. What's the one thing you could think of that you think is really important that somebody should have when they're involved in advocacy? Like a trait or like...
For a staff member or for an advocate?
well,
do you think?
I think from an advocate point of view, like what kind of a... so Lorna said be non-judgmental. That was from her point. Like, you don't make judgments on what people's lives and stuff like that. So Lorna has said that. But is there anything you think that people should... That's a hard question, is it? Okay,
I was going to ask what you mean.
yeah, so that's
is
the hard
Is
question.
there kind of a personality trait or something about somebody that they should have to be an advocate? What do you think? What are good things about you that you know you have to be a good advocate? I could list about 100.
Yeah.
About me?
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
go on.
But this one is totally about yourself. No,
No,
what
you
do you
have
think?
to. You have to think of it.
You have to think of
Oh,
it.
where
Yeah,
will I start?
well, you know, not too long.
No. I'm confident. That's one.
Yeah.
My second one is I feel that I can help a lot of people.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And I would... What would be the other one? Respectful.
You
Amazing.
absolutely.
Amazing.
And Philip.
How
Yep.
did Claire get 3 and I got 1? That was
Well,
tricky.
you know, it was hard.
I could keep going on, but
Look,
I
the
won't.
chairperson is the most important
Yes,
person here. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
And
say
maybe
that-
that's a really hard question for someone to answer
is very
because I
hard.
think everybody should be involved in advocacy. We advocate for
See,
ourselves
that's-
all the
See,
time.
that's another
So that's
thing.
important.
When people say, "Oh, Claire is very good at everything. Claire is brilliant," I've said, "No, I'm not. I do what I do, but it doesn't mean I'm better
Oh
than
no,
anyone. I
nobody's
wouldn't.
perfect.
No,
No, we all have our.
I'm good at
things
some
to do.
things, but not at everything.
Absolutely, Philip.
Look,
what do you
we
think?
can't all be perfect.
So
Claire.
if you met somebody that was in our service had never been, they only started in our service, and they heard about advocacy and they were saying, "Oh, I wonder what that's all about." What kind of advice would you give them? What kind of things have you learned from it?
What I learned from the advocacy is getting to know the different people's legs and dislikes, next of am I good for this, do I like this now, or do I not like this one?
Okay.
That's kind of
things that you like and don't
Yeah,
like,
like
is
Making
it?
choices
Yeah.
and things like that. Okay,
And that's important,
very good,
absolutely.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I might have thrown a curveball of a question in there, so I do apologise, but you answered that, it's brilliant.
Now, Siobhan, since you've asked all the questions, I'm going to ask you a question.
Go Claire, putting me on the hot spot now.
Go for
Yes, no, it's not my podcast. No, it's absolutely not my podcast. Go ahead.
How was it?
Sorry, I'm going to cough.
Do you remember a year and a half? Last year. How did you feel when you got the job as the full-time advocacy officer or
Okay,
coordinator?
that's actually
Now, you've asked all the
really good
questions,
question.
and now I'm asking
yeah,
you.
that wasn't really today's plan, but I think I have worked in the service for nearly 16 years, and up to September, end of last year, I was always a part-time advocacy officer. I think anyone who knows me will know that I have advocated strongly on the fact that it's so important that our regions have full-time advocacy officers. I'm extremely happy to be now in the full-time post. I have loads of ideas and the whole lot, and some of them are coming through with the podcast and all these things. I think it's just a great opportunity. It's a real focus. You're not being pulled in all directions for different things that you're doing. If you just have one role, I'm not saying there are loads of other things that are going on, but I think services really should have a full-time advocacy officer in all services. I'm not saying just the Brothers of Charity. I think it's really important, because then it shows that actually how important advocacy is in our service.
And there's always a lot of work
services
to do, isn't there?
There's always, it's never that I'm sitting around doing nothing.
How many people you're supporting, there's always so much work in advocacy. You can always do more and go deeper.
Yes.
And it's just having the time to do that, I think, is what you have
important.
now.
Yeah. And you never have enough time anyway.
No.
So we all aspire to be like Siobhan.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Claire.
No bother.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up now, because this has kind of gone on longer, which is brilliant. We could sit here all night talking. But I know we have another
dinner.
go for dinner now.
Dinner
so it's really important. I would like to thank Philip. I think didn't get a whole lot of words in today now because of the women that were here.
Maybe never get a word in with women, Philip. Isn't that right?
But we really like to thank Claire from our National Advocacy Council chairperson, who kindly agreed to do this while she was down on a visit, and of course Lorna, who they're down on your visit to Waterford. So we really do thank you for being part of our podcast and sharing the love when it comes to advocacy.
Thanks to Siobhan for asking us to come.
No bother. So I'm just going to say goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Bye and goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.